Welcome to Remembering You, a space for slowing down, seeing again, and gathering the parts of yourself that the world asked you to forget.
Each week, we wander through stories, ancient, personal, and collective, to explore how perspective changes everything. How what we look at and how we look can open doors to who we truly are.
Take a breath, feel your feet.
You've arrived.
Let's begin remembering you.
Welcome, friends, neighbors, frogs,
Trees, the wind and the sun.
the seen and the unseen worlds. Gather at the beckoning of our voices call.
Hark!
Hey, my love.
Hi.
I would like to formally challenge you to a duel.
Oh, yes. That sounds fun.
Let's have an arm wrestling match.
An arm wrestling. Well, you're going to whoop me there. I've seen you work out lately.
Let's have a physical demonstration of power over as we begin this podcast.
I fight you. I win.
Do I get to take my shirt off?
I mean, yeah, if you want to.
Pound my chest?
Can I join you?
Yes, please. This is my kind of a podcast.
This is why we don't do video. Don't nobody need to see that.
Nope.
Hi, y'all. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about power. I keep, as we've been preparing for this podcast, I keep remembering the opening to He-Man, the cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
From like the 80s. Because
Mm-hmm.
my brother watched it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have the power.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's just been
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of a loop in my head.
Little Skeletor.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Quick note. So my cousins gave my brother and I a couple figurines from He-Man.
Yeah.
And after playing with it for, I don't know, maybe a week or two, they disappeared because I think my parents watched He-Man and they were like, oh, this is not Christian friendly. So
He-Man and She-Ra.
it was gone. I'm not bitter, Mom. Honest.
You had a good childhood despite the absence of He-Man.
He-Man figures.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I thought it would be helpful to just kind of recap some of the things that we covered last week to kind of set up how it is that we're going to talk about power today. Does that sound okay to you?
That's great.
Okay. So last week, or last podcast episode, we talked about emotions. And quick reframe, we have needs, fundamental, non-negotiable, deeply hardwired biological, psychological needs as humans. And when those needs are met, we feel a good emotion. And when those needs are not met, we feel a bad emotion. And we have some core basic emotions that as humans, we're all born with: anger, fear, happiness or contentment, disgust, annoyance is also in there, and sadness. And those, the needs that we have exist on a spectrum, and one end kind of pulls on the other end. And so at one end, we have our assertiveness needs. So autonomy and control and choice and freedom and dignity. And then at the other end are all of our attachment needs, our belonging needs. We want to feel safe. We want to feel valued. We want to be understood by those around us. And when we lean into one end of the spectrum, we have to kind of sacrifice or give up another end of the spectrum. And so to be a flexible, healthy adult means that you're able to move along that spectrum as you need to and as the context changes. During the first few years of our life, our brain was undergoing this crazy rewiring. It was making tons of new connections and also deleting other ones that weren't serving it. And that wiring is like the foundation of a house. It is the template that all of our future learning and all of our future pattern recognition is built upon. This means that it doesn't ever go away. Like, you can't get rid of it, so to say. And it shapes absolutely everything about how we feel and how we interpret our emotions and how we just make sense of the world and respond when we're stressed.
And so that's why one of the metaphors that I use when I'm talking about grief with folks who have lost a loved one is follow the breadcrumbs. So where in your earliest memory or experience did you have loss? And what the permission to grieve, the way that you were either given permission or not given permission, the patterning, the adults around you that either showed the ability to express healthy emotion or suppress their grief, like being able to follow all of the moments of loss in your life and how you had loss modeled for you or were given permission or not given permission, that affects where you are today. Because sometimes folks, when they're in the experience of loss, it's disorienting, it's upending, and it can feel very dangerous or unfamiliar. And so being able to understand what are the programs that I have been given. So follow those breadcrumbs back into your earliest experience, and that's going to help you understand some of the whys behind the what of experience today in this moment.
Absolutely.
And it's not just grief.
Right, exactly. I was just going to say that.
It's with all
the emotions. Yes. Yes. And this is fundamentally why, because that template got laid down. I mean, by the time you were like 3 at the oldest.
That's so amazing.
And so obviously by 3, you have no conscious memory. It's, you were still in a brain state that is the same as, so like from 0 to, oh gosh, now I'm going to forget the time frame. From infancy until I think it's 2, your brain, the brain state of a child, like if you hook them up to an EEG machine, the little thing where you got all the stickies all over your scalp, and it measures the electronic signals that are going on in your brain. They are in the same brainwave state that you and I as adults are when we are deep sound asleep. So dreamless sleep is crazy.
It's just, wow.
So this is why, like, there's no conscious control. The higher executive functions of the brain are definitely not online yet, not going to be reliably online until about age 12. And so everything we experience is just utterly absorbed. Like, there's no capacity to, decide, do I like this? Do I not like this? Do I want to believe the thing that I am being told or shown? Like, we just swallow it whole. We are sponges that absorb everything around us.
No sense of agency or power.
No. Well, and that's what brings us to today's topic. Yeah. So children have limited power, limited understanding, and none of our needs were met perfectly 24/7. No matter how great our parents were and how hard they tried, we're all human and we're all just kind of figuring it out. And to not have a core need met for the psyche is just intolerable. It's a lot, you can think of it like our body's immune system. When a virus enters, the body knows what to do. It's going to mount a defense, so to say. And the psyche has at the same kind of way that there are these intricate, brilliant defenses. And so the mind copes in kind of 4 general ways. We either push the intensity of the feeling that we're feeling away from us. We maybe override it. We kind of take control with a feeling that is much more tolerable. We might numb out completely, or we exert a kind of external control either on ourselves or the environment around us or the other people around us to kind of just make it better fit what it seems like we need. And all of this gets stored in our brains implicit in our emotional memory systems. So that's called the limbic system. And it's precognitive, it's unconscious, it is very, very fast. It's about like several orders of magnitude, like millions of times more fast than our conscious brain. Like if I asked you right now, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? And you have to kind of reflect and think consciously. That is so much slower than the part of your emotional brain that is responding constantly to situations around you. And so all of us exit our childhood with these coping patterns that are not always adaptive and healthy in an adult everyday life context. And a lot of them, they just kind of ride under the surface. We don't necessarily know they're there until we meet a person that kind of triggers that activation pattern, or we're in a situation that it's like all of a sudden our coping pattern comes to the surface, because that is just the deep foundation that our mind operates from. And for some of us, they're so normal, we don't even really recognize them as a coping pattern. It just seems like, well, that's just what there is to do, or that's just what is true. Because our coping patterns get stored in our brain's limbic system, we don't have conscious control over them, but we can become much more aware of them, and we can learn how to respond in a healthier way. And because eventually they will start to cost us more pain than what they're saving us from. And then that's where we're met with kind of this choice, like, how do I want to deal with this?
Wow. And all of that is in early childhood.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
It is there's a lot going on.
When mama and papa are trying to keep in diapers and fed, just survive the night with maybe an hour or two of uninterrupted sleep.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much going on in the little one's experience. Yeah. That's going to be programmed.
Yeah.
For the life.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, and all of that is the background that kind of creates our relationship to power. So in those kind of one of four fundamental ways that we cope, in the first two ways, we're backing away from power. And in the other two ways, we're trying to lean in and figure out how to use our power in a way to get what we want. And so then I think maybe that begs the question, what is healthy power? And I'm curious how you, my love, think about what's a healthy definition of power, because I think some people have a deep aversion to power. Like, the only way they know how to think about power is power over. It's manipulative, it's dangerous. And so
bad.
Yeah. And so how would you frame power that is healthy and generative in your life?
Yes. It's complicated.
Yeah.
So we have to start with the definition of what is healthy power. Mm-hmm. And based upon what you've just shared in our early childhood experience, there's going to be different things that we'll focus on because of what we got or what we didn't get, mm-hmm. and how we responded and how we didn't respond.
Yeah.
And so in my experience, I don't have a memory of this, but I remember my mom telling me about it when I was in my early childhood, formidable years. We went on vacation to do, it was a family vacation in Dale Holla, Tennessee. And my grandparents would get a big houseboat and all the family would come from everywhere and we would tent camp and then be on the houseboat. And it was just a big family vacation in the summer. And as we are on the way driving, they had the windows open because this was pre-air conditioning. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember which wagon we had, but it was big and it was old and you rolled down the windows by hand.
Yep.
And so my mom had rolled the windows down by hand and here I am sitting in the back seat in my car seat. And somehow on the trip, my blankie went out the window.
Oh no. Whoops.
So the one thing that would soothe Ryan was, and I'm very tactile, and it had a very specific feel and print. I'll share a picture on social media.
Yeah.
Because I have a picture of when I got that first one was it was like my first birthday. Mm. Well, it was gone that whole week. Like I didn't have it. Mm. And I was unconsolable. Like it was, wow. I didn't have what I needed for my self-soothing to go to bed at night. And so my mom tells a story of us very quickly stopping at a Sears Roebuck and picking up a new blanket exactly like I had. And then I was cool as a cucumber.
You were fine after that. Oh.
So what that kind of gives me a clue about is that my relationship when I have loss is, it may be painful for a short period of time, but I'm going to have something replace what was lost or fill that need that isn't there. So in a sense, my relationship to power is that power ultimately is good.
Yeah.
In my experience. And that doesn't mean my parents were perfect in any way, shape, or form, and they wouldn't claim to be. Mm-hmm. And there was something on a very deep level of how I relate to power, in that when I have pain, there is an outside response that, although it might not be instantaneous, but I get what I need or what I want right away.
Yeah.
But in the end, it will come.
Yeah. So you had a mom and dad who noticed, oh, Ryan is inconsolable. Like he's really suffering. And so let's go figure out what to do about that. Mm-hmm. And so that gave you this trust in a way that I might be uncomfortable now, but it's not going to last forever. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's huge.
I don't have that simplicity of trust with my relationship to power today, in that I give all positions of power the benefit of the doubt.
You mean like in the way that you did with your parents? You don't have that same trust with every adult that you meet in the world?
Correct. Because
sure. Yeah.
Because I have had the opportunity over and over again to see the evidence of how power can be misused and abused and manipulated and used in a way that is not beneficial ultimately for quote unquote my good.
Yeah.
So how do I define power? It's complicated.
Yeah.
Or how do I define healthy power? It's not black and white like it was in my childhood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I would define power today as having a big picture that is willing to be shared and sharing that inclusion, that connection. So again, power is a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is very important, like open door policy between myself and my supervisor. Like I respect their power or their authority on our team. And if they didn't have an open door policy, I would probably relate to, and they hadn't proven over and over again that they're willing to listen or look at things from a different perspective, even though they might not do what I want.
Sure.
Or follow my perspective 100%. Their willingness to engage in dialogue, communication, and have a back and forth, like that gives me trust in the connection or the relationship that is taking place within the context of power. So we could take this to our neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And we could talk about our HOA.
Yep.
You want to go here, my love?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't talked publicly about this.
We won't name any names.
No, of course not. No.
But there's some pretty interesting shenanigans that are being played out from people who are in a position of power. However silly the amount of power that they think that they have.
Right.
It's
small town HOA neighborhood power. Oh boy.
It's a hoot. And it's the reason we moved here.
Right.
Was because there were deed restrictions.
Yep.
And we read the deed restrictions and we're like,
that's great.
We really like the sense of safety. We like the boundaries. We like what is put forth as this is the way things have been and this is the way things will continue to be.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, let's buy here.
Yes.
Until Mr. Napoleon
thought he could do whatever he wanted
and started literally doing that.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Yeah.
And as the story has continued to unfold, as we're watching someone who's not willing to receive communication.
Yeah, there's no mutuality at all.
There's no relationship.
Like what you were talking about with your
There's no give and take.
boss. Yeah, right. Yep.
So therefore, the community does not trust this person who is in a position of leadership because they only know how to respond the way a bully responds.
Yep.
And that's belittling, talking down, mocking,
Yep.
and totally disregarding and not having any receptivity to what others are saying.
Yep.
And it's the whole community is feeling this.
Yeah.
In relationship
It's not just like you and I.
No.
We got 100 people or so that are
plus.
that are like, what the hell?
Former people who have been in positions on the board and in the community, like they're coming to us out of the woodwork saying, this is the pattern that has always been here is, and one of the members on the board literally said this to 5 of us standing after a board meeting that y'all hired us to do a job. Shut up and let us do it.
Yep. And if you don't like it, you can just vote us out when our term is up. It's like, that is not how this is supposed to work.
And I don't swear, but like it was one of the WTF moments.
Oh,
I'm just kind of scratching my head saying, what is going on? It feels like we have gone back to high school.
Yeah.
And it's some of those dynamics of power over. So I guess there are a whole lot more negative examples of power over in my experience that immediately come to mind, which is something that's interesting because in our memory, when something bad happens, we can describe it as Velcro. And all of the negative experiences hit that wall of Velcro and stick.
It becomes super salient.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Versus positive experiences
Yeah.
are more like it's hitting a Teflon pan and it just kind of slides off.
Yeah.
And that is important for us to be able to pause and recognize that, oh, I do need to have gratitude practices
Oh yeah.
in my life
gosh.
and looking for the good things, because by nature our minds are looking for the pattern of negativity versus the pattern of positivity in our experience.
Yeah, it's like we have to train our mind. So in the same way that those early life experiences that set the template for our whole emotional internal meaning making experience, that too, like that's another fundamental pattern. It's like an instinctual one that all of us are born with. And so we need to build, I like to think of it as a superhighway or like an interconnected web that is augmenting those deeper structures. We can't get rid of those deeper structures. We can't erase them. There is no quote unquote healing them, but you do build supporting additional pathways in the nervous system that can then deal with maybe that impulse to look at something negatively or react or shrink away in defense, and then kind of examine it with a bit more objectivity. Okay, how is this reaction actually going to serve me or not? Is this beneficial? And then what can I do instead? Yeah.
Are there any rabbit trails you want to follow in regards to the HOA and experience to power? Because I have a definition that I want to share, but I want to wait until...
I think the only thing there's one that came to mind, and that's, so that person that made that comment to us after the board meeting that was essentially, you guys elected us, just let us do our job. It was confusing for my nervous system because he's actually a very gentle, like he didn't deliver it in a way that was, I'm the man, you just did. He delivered it in a way that was very kind, or at least it sounded that way. Like he wasn't trying to be a jerk at all.
He was saying it in a way that was very reassuring.
Yes.
And energetically, he is grounded.
Yep.
By trade, he is retired military, and so he understands structure.
Yep.
He understands rules and governance and power. And within the context of our neighborhood and community, he feels a sense of duty to do right by us who voted him in, and his perspective of power is missing a key element, which is, I think, going to be pointed to from my definition of healthy power.
Yeah.
All right. Healthy power is the capacity to influence others and shape situations in ways that do a couple things. Ready? Protecting dignity, reducing suffering, and serving the flourishment of the whole while remaining grounded in self-regulation, truth, and love.
Yeah.
So I'm pulling from my big influencers in life: Richard Rohr, the Dalai Lama, Jesus, Desmond Tutu.
Yep.
Like, these are folks who practiced healthy power, which influenced others, shaped situations, and protected dignity, reduced suffering, and served the flourishment of the whole while remaining, and I think this is important, that sometimes power, when we respond to negative power, we can lose our sense of being grounded, our self-regulation, what is our truth, and ultimately are we living or being animated from a center of love?
Right.
Love for myself obviously has to be first, and then love for the other, which is something that I think we see over and over again. It's left behind, or it's forgotten, or it's passed over.
Well, and it's hard when you're, so I would interpret the way that the head of our board relates to the community in such a, I mean, it's just a bully. My assumption is he's never, like, he doesn't actually know what love is. Like, he personally hasn't had an experience of ground love, like everything that you're talking about. And so it's the only way he knows how to use power. Like, is that, does that feel true for you as well? Okay. Yeah. And so
he's constantly in fight mode.
Right.
And constantly in defense.
Right.
And so when you're in that posture, when I'm in that state, I am unable to listen.
Yeah, sure.
In an authentic way that I actually want to hear the other's perspective.
Right.
Like, I'm listening for where are the flaws, where are the cracks, how can I prove them wrong, how can I get the upper hand. And in my experience, like, so I'm saying the other in a way that within our political, in our community, in the idea of how do we do relationship with other people, like there's always going to be practically an us versus them. Mm-hmm. Even if in my experience, I have had a unitive consciousness waking up moment where I can see everything as one.
Yeah.
And we are all in this together in a mystical, magical sort of spiritual way. There still are moments where I can feel that the energy back and forth, the communication, the dialogue, like it's not a dialogue, like it's a monologue and it's coming one direction.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pointing my fingers at me.
Yeah.
And what that does is that puts up the boundaries right away. I put up my shield, my force field, and it's like, no, you're not coming in. And I can either stay in that posture or I can go on the offensive and attack back.
Right.
Or I can take a deep breath and follow the path of some of my teachers who have gone before and are saying there's a third option other than just us versus them, and lobbing one turd pie at each other after another, which feels like our community HOA experience right now.
It's so ridiculous. Well, so then I guess so can you maybe color in a little more detail around what that third option is? Or how do we want to do that?
Yeah, let me preach a sermon right here,
okay,
babe.
Cool.
I'll drop some good stuff. So when we ask the question, what makes power healthy, it's important for us probably to start off like we have just done and make a list of all of the moments where we felt disempowered or abused by power or micromanaged in a situation. And it doesn't have to be an all-inclusive list, but sit down and jot down maybe 5, 6, 7, stop there.
Yep. Yeah.
Because of the Velcro and all the things. But part of untangling the Velcro is naming.
Right.
And acknowledging, oh yeah, this is part of my experience, and it comes to the surface lickety split, like really fast. So then some of the things I think maybe unmistakable qualities of healthy power, it starts with being self-regulated.
Yeah.
So healthy power is the ability to emotionally regulate.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a position of power or authority, it's important that my nervous system is communicating to every other nervous system around me that it's okay.
Mm.
Does that feel true?
Yeah, huge. The only caveat I would add is there are people who have never experienced what a healthy nervous system regulation is. And so they just have that's the hard part, is if you're somebody who's never had a regulated nervous system, like you just don't know what you don't know, I suppose, is what I'm saying.
From experiential knowledge.
Yep.
So put a pin in it. That's another podcast for another day.
Yep. Yep.
If that doesn't ring true or have any meaning.
But you're absolutely correct to include it, 100%. Mm-hmm.
And then I would say it also starts on the inside with healthy ego awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So the why behind the what that I'm doing.
Mm.
So if I'm doing something so that I look better, or if I put somebody down so that it gives me the competitive advantage, then in that moment, like there's a check and a balance in my experience. So ego awareness.
Yep.
And then the capacity to pause rather than react.
Mm-hmm. So a slowness. Yep.
So think of it this way. If I can't even govern myself, what the hell am I doing trying to govern others? You can quote me on that.
Amen. Yep.
And it doesn't mean that I'm perfect at governing myself.
Oh, of course.
But it does mean that I am aware of emotional regulation, ego awareness, and capacity to pause versus react in a situation.
So maybe can I read some examples of ways that people are using power in an unhealthy way, just to make this really concrete?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. So on the surrender side, like when we're acquiescing to power, we're just accepting it as true and inevitable. We're just like, I think immediately of like a dog, a little puppy just flipped over on its back and like exposing its belly. So in our adult life, that looks like saying yes when we mean no, apologizing automatically, even for something that's not our fault, or especially for something that's not our fault, taking responsibility for other people's problems or emotions, or having that, I'm indispensable, they really need me, almost feeling morally obligated to help or fix other people. So that's kind of all examples of surrendered to power. Then there's the detach or avoid power kind of example. So we might say something like, I'm fine. Or we keep things in a relationship really polite, but there's this distance. We procrastinate, we avoid conflict, we avoid a difficult conversation, we zone out, we kind of lose track in a conversation, or we just sort of go blank when things get too stressful. And then, of course, there's all the addictions that we have of like shopping too much, or watching porn, or shopping, or TV, or social media. So there's like that version. So those are like moving away from power sorts of coping methods. And then the other two are like leaning into power in an unhealthy way. So overcompensating might look like perfectionism, picking ourselves up by the bootstraps, like this extreme self-reliance, refusing help or support, minimizing our problems, idealizing people or situations, making jokes, being the comic, just kind of deflecting with humor, like needing really intense experiences, maybe in a sports version, like, jumping off a cliff or bungee jumping all the time, or things like gambling or promiscuous sex. And then there's also the mind can get involved in using power in an unhealthy way. And so there's lots of repetitive, sort of unproductive thinking things that we get caught in. So looping in worry, needing to mentally analyze, in an attempt to try to gain certainty or to prevent danger, searching for the quote unquote right explanation or interpretation, delaying a decision until you've got everything all figured out and it seems really clear. I mean, I could go on and on. There's like dozens and dozens and dozens of these. So if you can't govern yourself, what are you doing trying to govern others? Those coping modes, so to say, or strategies, when we're doing any of those, that's a signal that our relationship to power is off, that we are not grounded.
Absolutely.
And so if I'm trying to respond to a situation or to a person from any of those modes, like that is essentially what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, it doesn't mean that I am absolutely perfect in every way and deserve to be pedestalized.
No.
What it means is that there are people and practices in my experience that are helping and supporting and encouraging work in the areas of shadows and blind spots and like all of the things that I don't necessarily want to be put out there on social media. Like I had people in my life who are encouraging me in my growth and the process of personal development. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that I have to be absolutely perfect before I get into a position of power or authority or influence. But I think what is interesting to note and just recognize in myself and also in others, when I see someone going for power or when I feel like I have to go for power, it normally means that they're overcompensating for something that's unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I think what are you also saying in that is, no, you don't have to be perfect, but are you at least aware? Like that's the ego awareness part that you were pointing at. Yeah.
Because within my brand of Christianity, there was this idea that the minister or the pastor or the reverend was totally perfect.
Right.
And so there was a false sense of perfection in the way that people projected upon, I'll talk personally on myself.
Right.
Like I had it all together.
Right.
And that then put me in a position where I wasn't able to be honest because I would be shamed if I was and lose my position of status and et cetera. I had a conversation this week. I did coffee with a gentleman that I just met at one of our Illumin meetings, men's group. And in the talking about how I found men's work and how it's benefited me, I shared with him that I didn't want to be in a position of facilitating or teaching or giving in that form or fashion because I really enjoyed stepping into a space with anonymity. And like nobody knew that I was the spiritual go-to guy in the circles that I was constantly in, whether that was as a hospice chaplain or a minister or a counselor. And it was nice to be able to just be in a space where I was one of the guys.
Yeah.
And I still feel that, even though I have stepped into a facilitating role in some certain ways, but I also am very guarded with what, or not guarded. I'm very aware of what do I still need from a men's group, and how can I make choices based upon my involvement that are going to continue to amplify the parts of me that had to be quiet or still or reserved or hide or not welcomed at the table.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So we talk about this idea of, first, with self-regulation, I think is important for healthy power. And then secondly, the idea of protecting dignity. So healthy power never, and I'll be very emphatic, healthy power never humiliates, coerces, or dehumanizes ever.
Yep.
Like if you have coercion, dehumanization, and humiliation being at play, then it's not healthy
Yep.
power.
Yep.
End of discussion.
Yep.
So healthy power is going to ask, does this preserve the other's humanity? Does it honor consent, agency, and voice? Healthy power every time. There was a hymn that the first church that I pastored in the Hill Country way back in the day would be requested. We would do a fifth Sunday sing, and our lady on the piano, Suzanne, she could just make that piano sing like none other. It was so much fun, and oftentimes I would lead the music, and we would have other churches join us and request songs. And without fail, we've got churches from other denominations coming into our little weird non-denominational kind of gathering space, and someone would request the hymn, "We Are One in the Spirit." All right, so we're not charismatic. We're not really focused on the Holy Spirit. It's like Jesus' death on the cross, atonement theory, like those were the things that were kind of focused. But somebody would always request this. Let me read some of the lyrics to you.
Yeah.
"We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord, and we pray that all unity may one day be restored. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love.
Yep.
Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand, and together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know that we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love." And then the last verse, "We will walk with each other. We will walk side by side. We will guard each man's dignity and save each man's pride. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love." And it's kind of in a minor key and kind of a march flavor. And it's just...
I remember that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sang it too.
Yeah, not just the evangelicals
No.
sang that one. So power that violates dignity is already unhealthy, even if it, quote, works.
Yeah. It might work temporarily, short term, but long term, it's always going to backfire.
There will be consequences.
Yep.
There will be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there will be an outcome. And it may be the microwavable approach. Like, We get it super quick.
Yeah. Or it might take a while.
And
Yeah.
well, the power, I would say unhealthy power that violates dignity
Yeah.
is going to work fast. And it's not going to be lasting. Thus, the absence of health.
It drives me crazy so much in the corporate world because there are so many examples of this, of we're going to do this and we need to do it this way because they're so focused on the short term. It's like, what's going to get us the result quickly? It's like, yeah, but you are, I mean, it's this exactly thing that you're pointing to. It's not preserving the other person's dignity and humanity and consent and agency and voice. And sure, it might get the results, but, you know, in the long run, people just check out, or they say one thing and then they go do another. And, you know, anyway, there's all kinds of unintended consequences.
Perfect segue into number 3.
Yes.
It serves the whole, not the ego. And healthy power is functional, not performative. So think about somebody in your life, your experience. Where was their focus just on performance? And like looking good?
Me.
Yep.
Yeah. Got to get mine.
It's all about what I have. It's all
Yeah.
about what people say about me. It's all about how I'm just going to bite my tongue and not go into any other examples because I have a bunch of examples coming to mind from our political
Well, and you
world
can
today.
kind of even do that too, like in a workplace context or, you know, in a friend group. It's like, maybe it's not you personally, but it's my team or my little group. And then we're fighting against the other groups. So you can, like, that too is not considering the whole.
So healthy power is oriented towards healing rather than winning. Justice rather than image. Relationship rather than control. When power exists primarily to defend identity, status, or fear, it turns coercive.
Yes.
Always.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then number 4, it is truth-telling with compassion. Healthy power can name harm clearly. It can set boundaries firmly and hold others accountable. But it does so without revenge, shaming, or cruelty. I think that's so important. Truth-telling with compassion. Again, it's the idea of the whole is being considered and not the small I of ego in our experience.
What I think of when I hear that is how if you are speaking truth with compassion to someone who is in power or to a group that is in power, if they're using power over and you're trying to point at that, or if they're collapsed and, you know, surrendered and not taking the actions that they need to take, speaking truth can feel like you're more than likely to get a reaction. And that's okay. But what matters is the voice that, like, the position that you are coming from. And that's the only thing that we can control. And that too is having a healthy relationship to power, understanding, I think, that I can use my power in a truthful and compassionate way, but I can't do so with any kind of expectation that I'm going to create a particular outcome. Because of course you got to let the other person have their choice. Yeah.
So this is strength without brutality.
Right.
Being able to act without revenge, shaming others, or cruelty. And then lastly, it is relational and shared. So healthy power is a a place that we go into where it is complicated and it's messy and it's not easy.
Yep.
Healthy power is not zero sum. It invites mutual influence, collaboration, shared responsibility. It knows that power grows when it is circulated, not hoarded.
Yeah, it's like understanding there is no scarcity.
So just quick recap, healthy power versus unhealthy power. Unhealthy power is control, coercion, domination, ego defense, fear-based, image management. And healthy power is influence, consent, service, integrity, love-based, truth-telling.
Yep.
Healthy power is influence rooted in self-mastery and exercised in service of dignity, truth, and the common good.
I think it's important to name that both for ourselves on a personal level, like just our, in our own day-to-day experience, but then also when we're watching how others respond around us. So those four kind of broad categories of different ways that we cope, like kind of our own internal patterns. When we or someone is in an overcompensating kind of role or reaction, this healthy power that you're naming feels too passive. Like somebody who's trying to overcompensate and use power in an unhealthy way, healthy power looks way too passive. Or to someone who is surrendered, stepping into healthy power looks and feels dangerous. And to someone who's like wants to kind of keep the distance and is detached and avoidant, then healthy power looks too messy. And if we're stuck in kind of that using our mind to try to control and understand and clarify, this version of healthy power just doesn't make sense. Like it is like, yeah, but what about, did it, like the mind will want to clarify and pin down. And so I just want to name that healthy power will create some reactivity in our own psyche, in our emotional world, in our energetic world, in our body, in our mind, because, anything that's we haven't yet resolved and worked with, maybe it'll be like, oh my God, that's way too passive, or that feels too dangerous, or that looks way too messy, or that just doesn't make any sense. Like that's normal.
I had a professor in seminary who was talking about the dangers of passivity.
Oh, okay.
And how he was basically inviting violence on a political level because there are people in our world politically, they're coming after you.
Yep.
And he made this statement. He would make it over and over again. He would make the statement that he had to look in the mirror while he was holding his gun and look himself in the eye and say, if someone is coming for my wife and kids, I will shoot them.
Ooh, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why is he standing in front of a mirror with a gun? Wow.
Because he was trying to train himself
to
meet power with power.
Dominance with dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aggression with aggression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he would say, if they're coming for your wife and kids, are you just going to let them take them? And so here we are, a bunch of guys in our 20s at seminary.
Why is people coming for your wife and kids? Like
we didn't have wives and kids yet. But it made us think in a particular direction that I would say is not in line with some of the teachers that I named at the top of our podcast here today. This is how you respond to violence and aggression.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that does, though, beg the question, how does healthy power respond to dominance and aggression? I mean, I know we just detailed, self-regulation, protect, how do you protect the dignity of somebody who's trying to come after you in a bully attack sort of way?
Yeah. So thank you for putting me on the spot. I walked into that. I don't
mean to. I'm assuming it's going to be a question that arises in the mind of our listeners.
Thanks, listeners. Why don't you take a moment and ponder this thought and let us know in the comments what your thought is to Alice-Ann's question.
Yeah.
So first of all, it is important to recognize that healthy power begins with self-regulation.
Yes. Right.
And my care for myself, and then my care for my partner. Mm-hmm. And I would use the word, this could be a little bit tricky, and I define it in some different ways than what I grew up. My covenant partner.
Yeah.
That if someone is coming for you, I will respond in a way that I would respond to someone who was coming for me.
Of course.
So, a little male chivalry there.
Yeah.
And I have not had that experience, and the chances of that happening as a white cisgendered man is pretty minimal.
Yep.
So it gets complicated when I trade shoes with my black brother or my brown brother, who literally is having people come for family members, and there is a decision to be made. And I think that is where each of us have to wrestle with what is our definition of healthy power. And I would say that it is not wise to give someone else power over your definition of power.
Yeah.
And what healthy power is.
Yep. I like that. I guess I'm noticing in this moment the way so in a much more mundane, everyday kind of way, let's say a toxic workplace environment. If I've got a manager who is micromanaging me, demanding that I, just telling me how to do every little thing, not giving me the agency and the freedom that should be granted to me in the role that I have, what's my responsibility? What's their responsibility? I'm always, not always, I am shocked at how many people will tolerate, they'll I can't tell you how many people I have coached over the years who detail just utter terrible things that they are continuing to put up with, but they are not they cannot bring themselves to even apply for another job. They keep trying to figure it out. Okay, how do I, get this person to stop doing what they're doing? And of course, there's we don't immediately give up in a workplace situation. We do give people some time and some grace, and we give them some options, and we just see how it's going to play out. But it's interesting how we can get caught in a dynamic where we're kind of giving away our power, and we're continuing to surrender, I imagine, because there's just a fear of the unknown. It's almost like the devil is better than the devil that you don't. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I'm wanting to kind of fold that into the equation as well. So I suppose using our definition, like all the components of healthy power, there's like one, they're not self-regulated. Not
Absolutely. And I think that is where reaching out for help begins.
Yeah.
So having a men's or women's group where we are able to talk about the things that we might not talk about in other social circles about our experience. To have folks reflect back to us, I hear you, I see you, I love you just the way you are.
Yeah.
Like that is something that we need mirrored, patterned for us in order for us to be able to find that experience within ourselves. Like we have to have it on the outside. And so it's not just a men's group, but read a book about self-care.
Yeah.
Reach out and get a coach, get a therapist, have a counselor, have an accountability partner or buddy. You know, we have to do this within relationship and within connection.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't. It can't exist in isolation.
So like nobody finds self-regulation, emotional regulation, ego awareness, capacity to pause rather than react. You don't find that in and of yourself within a vacuum.
Nope.
Like it's has to be co-created, and we can be intentional.
Of course.
Like it's not just gonna happen if we're identifying right now, man, I don't know how to self-regulate. Then there are some clear resources out there. Email Alison and she will
I got all kinds.
get you set up.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, in the same way, protecting dignity, if I don't feel like I have a strong sense of self-dignity, then I don't know what it looks like to protect someone else's dignity.
Right.
Like to honor them as humanity. And if I don't have a strong sense of consent, like I did not consent for this, and I am giving away my agency, and I just gave away my voice in this moment. Like if I don't have those just simple awareness, and if I'm always fighting for my ego,
Right.
I'm in trouble in my workplace or in an unhealthy and toxic relationship.
Sure.
I've worked with individuals, and I've worked with couples over the years who were in unhealthy and toxic relationships. And it wasn't until they were able to step out of that cycle and build in some new patterns and pathways that they were able to have a healthy, sustainable relationship. And sometimes that meant they had to have a separation and step away for a big part of time from their spouse, from their partner, until they were able to have new pathways and new foundation in their experience. And that's hard, and it's scary, and there's shame, and there's judgment, and there's all kinds of cost that comes along with it. And they could not be a leader within the context of their union until they were able to honestly lead and authentically be their truest self on the inside. And it's scary as all get out, but they couldn't do it by themselves, obviously.
No.
And they couldn't do it within the context that they were currently in.
Because it's too, I imagine the force behind that was so deeply ingrained. Like there's no way you have to create some distance in order to be able to see it more objectively. And so could we talk about consent and power a little more? So I can't remember I don't think I said this at the beginning that, well, I did say that as children we had limited power and understanding, and so that is kind of what creates our coping patterns, because of course no one experiences a perfect childhood. Mm-hmm. And so as children, we don't have meaningful consent to the rules that we're given, to the values that we're being taught, to the emotional expectations that others have of us, or to the roles that we are being assigned. And so this is what kind of creates the core of our relationship to power. And just yesterday we were watching a little documentary, and at the very end there were some school teachers talking about this school that they have in India. I believe it was a Montessori school. Mm-hmm. And I was so struck by how they talked about how they see the children that they are teaching. And so one of the ladies said, we don't see children as clay to be molded or as a blank slate that we are writing on, that they saw them as agents within and of themselves. And so immediately I think of dignity. And they were recognizing that this is a being, sure, they might be younger than me in years, but they have a wisdom and a humanity that deserves to be protected and upheld and valued. And so there was just this implicit choice and freedom and mutuality in the relationship. And it just kind of highlighted for me that obviously consent as a child is something that could be so much more healthy than what I think the vast majority of us here in the West experience as children, I think is what I'm trying to point to.
Dignity in children. Yeah, it's a totally different way of looking at a parent-child relationship. Mm-hmm. Like, if the definition of the way children are to be seen and not heard, like yeah. that removes any potential for dignity.
Yes.
Because children become an immediate reflection of their parents. And so based upon the child's performance or lack of performance, mm-hmm. is shame on the parent. Like,
right.
If the child is having a bad day and throwing a tantrum, it means the parent is bad.
Right.
And that's like a cultural, like our whole culture. I can't tell you how many times, whether it was a funeral or a wedding or a church service, where there was a kid who started squeaking and squawking, and energetically the horror on the parents' faces or grandparents or people around them. Like, there was so much shame directed because they obviously are a bad parent because their kid is not shutting up, sitting up, and sucking it all up.
Yeah. Well, and the only reason they're reacting that way is because that's how they were treated as children. Mm-hmm. Yeah. and so, like, I think this is such a powerful lens into, to create our own self-awareness and how we're relating to ourselves, is to think about just how we react. How do we see children, and how were we treated as a child? Like, did we have meaningful consent to the rules that we were given, or to the values that we were told we had to follow and uphold, and like emotional expectation of always being perfect and, not being because little kids don't. So again, like, we could talk about brainwave capacity, in the same way that I did 0 to 2, we're in the same brainwave state as you and I are when we're in deep sleep. Similarly, up until about the age of 7, there's not, like, they literally can't regulate their own emotions. They can only do so because the parents are like their nervous system is extended into the parent and they're completely dependent on the parent. And so to expect a 4-year-old to be able to control their emotions, I mean, literally, neurobiologically, they cannot do it.
And dignity is not the parent expecting the child to know what it wants when it's 4 years old.
Right. Yes.
Like the same as in converse. So it's just, as a parent, you're kind of in this catch-22 of when do I start giving dignity and autonomy and showing honor and respect to this little human? And I would say a beautiful spark of the divine. When they're 4 years old, they don't know what they want.
No.
And they're trying to regulate based upon mama and papa,
Yeah.
or whoever their adults are. So it's a challenging experience. And then to go from being a child where things were, I would say, at times heavily handed in, you don't have dignity or self-respect, or you're not viewed as a valued voice in this co-created space. When you step into adulthood and cross over, and your adult figure, whether it's the one who raised you or in your work or political or a partner, and they try to do something similar to you that you experienced in your childhood, that now you would define as, this person is bullying me. Like, it's kind of a moment to grow up and take responsibility for, I'm not going to participate in this stance that I didn't consent to in my childhood, but now I'm able to say, no, this is not what I want.
Absolutely.
I had an experience here a few months back where we had a family, we still do, we have a family thread with siblings and parents, and some big things had happened politically. And my dad, who I love dearly and who doesn't understand where any of his children fall with politics or religion or social issues at this time, kept pounding a drum that was pretty annoying after several days of continuing to pound the drum. And he was sharing certain videos that were, he was honestly trying to get a discussion and conversation going, and none of us wanted it. Some of us explicitly said that, and eventually I had to send my dad a text and say, you're being a bully and I'm going to block you for a while because you're not listening. And I'm sure it felt kind of weird and awkward, and because that's just the way that he's always been with his children. And as an adult, I'm just like, no, I have enough respect for myself and can take a deep breath and pause and say, I'm done for a while.
Yes.
I have unblocked my dad and am communicating with him. And I don't doubt that I'll have to, in the future, do the same thing again, where I draw a boundary and say, enough is enough. And so power is complicated.
Oh my goodness.
Being an adult and having all of that programming from your childhood is not something you just easily step out of. Like, it's a process of years of therapy. And I say that kind of jokingly, and I'm serious that it is,
it is.
It is our work and it is our process.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine Like you had to, you had done a ton of work for, I mean, like you just said, for years up until that point to be able to put up that boundary in a healthy way. So I imagine, like, if you had, imagine you wouldn't have been able, tell me whether or not this is true. I imagine you would not have been able to do that 10 years ago.
Correct.
Yeah. Like you would have just.
There might have been reaction and I would have been angry.
Right.
And on fire. So it wouldn't have been a grounded, thoughtful response. Like I thought through, how is this going to impact my siblings? Mm-hmm. And I am being responsible in this moment to say no to a role that I have played since my childhood, which is being the third parent in our family and the peacemaker who makes everybody feel happy and safe and good. And the lack of attunement from my parents is no longer my responsibility to make my siblings feel good. And so the line has been drawn in the sand. And when it got crossed one more time, it was like, okay, you're a bully and I'm blocking you. Mm-hmm. And it freaked out my siblings because I had just stepped out of the family dance and what everybody felt was safe and secure in the way that it should be. And it was a surprise to them, some more so than others, because they haven't necessarily seen me doing the work behind the scenes. And I haven't necessarily talked about it with them because it wasn't necessarily something that comes up in conversation. Yeah.
It's not your everyday sort of, how are you doing? Well, I've been working on the background in my childhood trauma.
I think 2020 is, you know, I would, if I could go back, I would probably have texted each of my siblings individually and said, hey, I'm fixing to use some strong language with Dad.
Sure.
And I am going to, like, I would have softened it a little bit and maybe not.
Sure.
I think the shock value of Ryan, Big Brother, is stepping out of his role that he's been in for the last 40 plus years, is calling them to do the same. And I have been doing it gradually behind the scenes, and this was an opportunity for things to be out and loud.
Well, and they are like, there's a line where is your responsibility and where is theirs? So, you know, we can't be 100% responsible for somebody else's reaction.
No, not at all.
To our healthy use of power.
Which was the previous mode of training
right.
that I had been in.
Right.
That was my conditioned responsibility, was to be the peacemaker and make everybody happy.
Yeah. Yep.
Whatever Mom and Dad said, make it happy and able to be assimilated by the siblings.
Oh boy. I think maybe it's important to name that how all of this is for us fundamentally is felt. Like, it is a body-based, yes, of course we can think thoughts about it, but it is always experienced by the body and then of course emotionally before it can really be processed by the mind. And so, you know, that might look like, are my shoulders way up high, close to my ears, or are they relaxed and open, or are they, you know, hunched over? Like, am I collapsed and surrendered? You know, so we can kind of like get a clue from how our chest and our shoulder is. We can get curious about our jaw. Like, are my teeth clenched? Is my jaw tight? Do I have this feeling like, oh my God, I got to run and get the hell out of here? Do I feel frozen and numb? And so it's just that this is power dynamics it registers just instantaneously. So again, like because it's all controlled by the part of the mind that is many orders of magnitude faster than our conscious mind can process. And so unhealthy power is going to feel constricting or urgent or pressurized or all or nothing, whereas healthy power is going to feel, like you said, grounded. There's a spaciousness. There's an ability to say no or to set a boundary without it freezing or feeling like I got to go into fight mode in order to say it. And so I just wanted to name kind of the body-based part of this too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, being flush, having a quick heat wave come through you,
Mm-hmm.
feeling a knot in your stomach. Our body is telling us what our truth is all the time.
All the time. Yeah, it can't lie. It just is.
So, my love, is it time for us to talk about being a dominatrix?
Ooh la la. Next podcast.
Oh, I thought that was the power we were talking about.
Yeah, that is a rich landscape to talk about sex and power. Because of course, it's just as grabby as money and power. Like there's so much there.
Well, why don't we not talk about it today? Why don't we practice it today?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. After all, it all starts in the body.
And in all seriousness, well, no, that is pretty serious.
It is serious. Yeah.
It's a great topic. As we wrap up today's podcast, why don't we do a practice that helps us come into our felt sense of healthy power within?
Yeah, I love that because, of course, we've been talking about this, but really this has to be felt in the body. It has to be experienced.
Mm-hmm. So I invite you, if you are in a place, in a setting where you can close your eyes and just settle into the environment in a restful, a relaxing, and an energetic letting go into this moment. Take a moment to settle into your body. Feel the weight of yourself where you're sitting. Simply let your breath arrive without effort. No need to change or direct. Just arrive, one breath following another. Now, gently notice your inner authority, the part of you that can pause, choose, and respond rather than react. And as you find that part within you, maybe sit up a little bit straighter. Allow your spine to be strong, tall, and grounded. And if there's anything inside you, such as the unhealthy expressions of power, such as control, desire to impress, or the thought or posture to defend, just breathe that out and away with your out breath. Now bring to mind a place in your life where you currently hold power. As a parent, a leader, caregiver, partner, teacher, or simply as a human with influence. Without judgment, ask yourself quietly, am I grounded in myself right now? Does the way I use power here protect dignity, mine and others? Is this serving connection, truth, and life? Can you feel in your body the difference between power over and power within? Let your breath remind you, healthy power begins with self-regulation. Flows through compassion and moves toward the flourishing of the whole. Healthy power begins with self-regulation, flows through compassion, and moves toward the flourishing of the whole. Take one more slow breath. Feel the power of the oxygen in your lungs being converted to energy. And when you're ready, carrying the power that is steady, relational, and rooted in love, begin to flutter your eyelids, wiggle your fingers and your toes, and return to this moment. Thank you.
I heard a little metaphor that I want to share in closing about healthy power, and it was how a cow relates to the flies that are flying and buzzing around it. And so it'll swat the flies away with its tail, but it doesn't do so with annoyance and, it doesn't get all worked up. It's not running around trying to chase every single little fly. So it accepts that flies are just a part of its everyday life. And it does so in a very consistent but patient kind of way. So I love that picture of how to relate to something in my life that is maybe upsetting me or causing me a little bit of annoyance or aggravation. And just imagine that cow with its swishy little tail, and it just goes about its life and it swats away the flies when it needs to. and it doesn't get mad about it. It just stays a happy cow.
No bravado, no
Yeah.
blustering, no.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for doing life power with me.
I will choose that every time. Yes, please.
Ooh la la. Friends, thanks for joining us
Yes.
on Remembering You podcast. We appreciate you for listening. Please take a moment, like and subscribe, rate the podcast, leave a comment. That helps us get the word out.
Yep.
And we would love to have you join us in our monthly circle gatherings. We have 2 every month. It is an opportunity to practice what we have been talking about today.
Yes.
And it is needed more than ever in our world, in our workplaces, our families, and in our political arena, in the local, state, national, and world stages.
Yep. Yep. It is a great little space. Just one small bite at a time. Consistency. Just showing up and having a place to be. And just practice being human. Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.